Bloons Car Storm has been released a little over a week now, and a bunch of the community have already started making tons of really cool custom cards. And I thought, why not review some of what the community has made thus far? So today, I'm going to be going over 20 custom cards that I believe to be the most interesting. If you'd like to have your own custom card be reviewed for my next video, join the Discord and draw me your custom cards for a chance to be in it. By the way, I got this idea from Trump's Hearthstone custom cards reviews, so consider checking him out after this video. We're going to go ahead and start off with a group of ninja monkeys, with the first one being the Ninja Monkey. These are all made by the same person, so they're going to be very similar. But right off the bat, his effect is essentially Quincy's passive. I quite like this direction he's going with the Ninja Monkeys. Instead of adding a camo property into the game, instead he goes for a tower that attacks played balloons. 25 attack seems like the bare minimum this card could have to make it usable, but the issue is, unlike defenders who gain more attack attacking on the opponent's turn, he doesn't get that effect. I feel like you can give him plus 5 attack when attacking played balloons, so that there's an incentive for not attacking and waiting it out. Any more than 5 I feel would be way too strong, especially since you can play multiple of these on the field. Next up we got Distraction, so he switched up and gave him Defender instead with plus 15. As well as an on attack, add 1 delay to a target non-large balloon. Good thing this card is 2 delay, because if it was 1, it would be busted. Honestly, this is just a straight up better Ninja Monkey, because they cost the exact same. You would never run Ninja Monkey over Distraction, so Ninja Monkey would need a buff or Distraction would need a nerf. Other than that, the card seems good. Not too strong, not too weak. Next we have the Counter Espionage. Goes back to the original effect, as well as returns attack balloons to the opponent's hand. This card seems to have potential to be strong. For one, it can return a pink balloon and large balloons back to the hand. On the other, you could just bait this out with the red balloon. Cool card and concept, but it is all over the place in terms of power level. The meta would be sit on a 0 to 1 cost balloon to play around this card, and I don't think that's healthy for the meta. Next, we got Shinobi Tactics. Same as before, but gives plus 5 to all ninjas. I feel like a few changes needs to happen to this card. Firstly, his attack needs to be higher. 10 just seems too low. Second, he could buff ninjas by 10, costing 6. At that point, he could be comparable to Super Monkey Fan Club, but other than that, not a bad card. Next up is Grand Saboteur. Same effect as before, but on play plus 1 delay to, I'm guessing, 1 target balloon, as well as balloons played get 25% less health plus 1 delay. Okay, a few things. I like the on play add 1 to a balloon. I don't like the 25% health drop. I mean, if your opponent played a balloon with 75 health, would it go to 56.25 health? You could instead just do a flat drop, and plus 1 delay on played balloons might be too strong. You could argue you could remove this card, which is true, especially with bedtime since the attack is lower than 30. I don't know, seems better balanced around the current meta, but not entirely sure. Because these ninja cards seem really good with Gwen and will cause games to go super late game. Just not sure if they would be the healthiest for the game. But overall, a really cool design. We're not done yet because we got 3 more, with this one being the Seeking Shuriken. Same effect, but can also attack another balloon as well. Fairly simple, and if anything, make the damage be 20 because the potential to deal only 5 more than the regular ninja isn't worth it. We're gonna go right into the next one being Double Shot. Same effect, but attacks twice. I genuinely like this one. You can counterplay around it with reds, but dealing 50 damage each turn isn't half bad. Can get buffed by Gwen's passive and Shinobi, so can deal some pretty good damage potentially as well. Not a bad card. And the last ninja we're going to be covering today is Balloon Jitsu. Same effect, but can attack 5 times. The fact that this card isn't unique is crazy, because if you can get 3 of these with Gwen's passive, you can negate potentially 450 damage. What is crazier is that I'm pretty sure if it doesn't use up all the attacks on the first balloon, it will attack on the next one as well. I mean, this card is just busted. Makes Wizard Monkeys not needed. And to be honest, even if it didn't have its own effect, if it was just a vanilla blank card, it would still be really good. This is the most busted one out of all the ninjas, and funny enough, it's also my favorite as well. That's also all the tower cards. Now we're going to be moving on to the balloons, starting off with the one and only Bad. Honestly, I quite like this card. Not being able to increase the delay is a really cool effect. Lore accurate too. But I feel like the Bad should be unique, because you don't really see that many in normal Balloons gameplay. I'd always imagine it to be a win con. Could also have a little bit more health, with a passive that also prevents it from being destroyed from powers maybe? Because all Gwen needs to do is just set it on fire and play extreme heat. Maybe more gold cost as well? This is just my personal opinion, but this isn't that bad of a design and I quite like it. Now, let's go over the card on the thumbnail. Sus Balloon. I know a lot of y'all might think this is a troll card, and you'd be correct, but I like the concept though. A weak balloon that if pop draws 2, you can beef it up to do higher damage, bait out defender attacks, or get an easy draw 2 from Quincy's passive. It's unique though, which fair enough, and also costs 2, which I think is also fair. Even though this card wasn't meant to be taken seriously, for some odd reason I really like this card, and is also among the favorites of today's cards. Next balloon we got is the DDT, and just like with the ninjas, instead of adding new properties, they instead just made it 2 ceramics put together. Not the most original idea, but it makes sense. I like it, but it could be better in terms of originality. But other than adding new properties to the game, I'm not entirely sure how you would go about that. Decent card, but would be troublesome potentially. Next, we got the Mini Moab. And to be honest, this one is very interesting because we have a damaged Moab, which is a 4 cost, has 350 HP with 4 delay. Another comparison is the Ceramic Bloons, costing 5 gold for 250 HP with 2 delay. In my opinion, Ceramic is just simply better, and I'm trying to see how this balloon could work. But I think it's slightly too weak for it to make it work. 200 HP is just way too low, especially with 3 delay. Caught my eye, but isn't very good sadly. Next up we have the Lead Balloon. All damage is reduced by 10, on link destroy a random card in the opponent's hand. So we have damage reduction and hand destruction. This card has the potential to be quite good. Reducing damage by 10 doesn't seem that good, but of course there's lots of ways to boost his health, like growth gas, fortified, and such. But the hand destruction is also quite nice as well. There currently isn't hand destruction yet, but this would be a decent way to start it off. Maybe make the card only be played once per card, instead of twice. Make the health 100, but this card doesn't sound bad at all. I like it. Now just a heads up, the next 2 balloons are a bit out there, so bear with me. Next we have the Test Balloon. 3 cost 10 health, 4 delay with 240 shield. This balloon spawns on the opponent's side of the map. I like this concept, but not in its current state. The fact that you can play 9 of these in a game is very toxic and is not good. But I get where they're trying to go with this. My biggest concern is that it's not healthy for the meta. This card would also not be considered fun to go against, because not being able to play balloons makes it almost impossible to win. This is probably the most unhealthiest card thus far, but I wanted to show it off because I like the attempt, but definitely needs some more work to be done to it. And the last balloon we're going to be covering today is Taunting Balloon. 4 cost, 20 HP, 2 delay with 150 shield, and taunt. Opposing towers and heroes can only target taunting balloons. This, I feel, is a pretty good custom card. Taunt prevents fireballs from Gwen, Quincy shots, Open spirits, and tower attacks. A few ways around this is defenders, mortars, and AoE. I like that it's a single use, 3 of a kind, with low health, because this isn't meant to do damage, but just be a nuisance for the opponent, and not as big as the Test Balloon would be. I think this is the most balanced balloon out of today's group, but although it isn't my favorite out of them. First power card up is Student Loans, which I feel should be Monkey Loans, but 3 cost gains 6 gold now instead of starting round gold. This I feel would only be good on turn 2 if you could possibly play something big enough like a Moab, or High Finance where you could play a Moab on turn 1, which is pretty crazy as well. But anywhere else this is horrible. It's too situational for it to be worth it adding to a deck, but I like the idea. Maybe instead you get 6 now and lose 6 later, instead of losing out on everything. Also change the cost from 3 to 1 as well. I don't know, this one sounds good on paper, but in execution would be quite terrible. Next one up we got TSAR Bomba. 10 cost, destroy all balloons, discard your hand. Okay, so check this out. Your opponent has 1000 damage coming your way. You have balloons on your field too. They have a hand. You do too. You play this card and wipe away the board. You also get rid of your hand. You have towers, and that's it. How do you win? You could have blacks and zebras, but really and truly, you only win by getting lucky with the draws. Because at the moment, there isn't a hero in the game that can get you out of this situation, and your opponent will win 99.9% of the time. This card is the opposite of the bomb. It is a dud. Next we got the Spiked Shield. 3 costs, gain 85 shield. Hero takes 15 less damage until the shield breaks. Right off the bat, this card would be busted with Open. He's Mr. Shield Man himself. He would be stacking shields all day. And depending if this effect actually stacks as well, which I'm sure it doesn't, but if it did, this card would be the most broken card of today's video. But in general, this card should probably not exist because Open already does. Maybe lower it to 10 possibly? Other than that, it's a pretty strong card if I do say so myself. Next we have Antidote. 1 cost, remove all status effects from target balloon or tower. Draw a card. I chose this one because it could honestly work depending on what effects is exactly. Like if a balloon is on fire, it will no longer be. Or if a tower is stunned, it will no longer be stunned. But let's say a buddy balloon is played, would the tower no longer be at 0 damage? I assume so, but if a balloon was given +1 delay, would it go down 1 delay? Because that might be too OP. It all depends on what the effect means. And to be honest, if it just removed fire and stuns, you can make this a 0 cost and it could be usable. Especially as new cards are released and new effects come out, this card can only get better. Something small, nothing too special. I like it. And for our last card for today, I thought we could end it off with a banger. Skip. I mean, is there anything else to say? Well, I guess. Could you imagine this with Amelia? And there you have it. Reviewing custom cards in Bloons Card Storm. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And comment down below what you think was the most broken or weakest card. And if you have a custom card you would like for me to review, join the Discord, link in the description. Use code KimoSuave and have a good one.